When Ozzy Osbourne died, the world didn't just lose a musician, it lost an enigma. The man who terrified, inspired, bewildered, and entertained millions across the globe for decades was gone, leaving behind a cultural void that can never be filled. Ozzy wasn't just a singer, he was a force, a myth made flesh. From the stages of Birmingham to the reality TV screens of Beverly Hills, he crafted a legacy built equally on rebellion and resilience. But in death, as in life, the final chapter of Ozzy's story would not be simple. It would be chaotic, controversial, and filled with unanswered questions. Dubbed the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy became a household name in the 1970s as the frontman of Black Sabbath, a band that essentially birthed heavy metal. But while his music was fierce, his personal life was even more tumultuous. Addiction, scandal, near-death experiences, and public meltdowns followed him like shadows. Yet somehow he endured, emerging time and again like a phoenix from the ashes of his own destruction. His survival was nothing short of miraculous, and for many his death seemed almost impossible. People assumed Ozzy would simply keep going, forever howling into the void with eyeliner smudged and middle fingers raised. But then it happened, quietly, almost too quietly. The announcement came not with a bang, but with a whisper, a stark contrast to the man's bombastic life. News networks scrambled to confirm details. Social media erupted. Devoted fans wept openly, remembering their first time hearing Crazy Train or watching the Osbournes and laughing at Ozzy, fumbling through fatherhood and fame. And yet, amid the mourning, an odd silence settled over the proceedings, particularly from Sharon Osbourne, his wife and longtime manager. For days, she said nothing. No statement, no appearance, no tribute. People noticed. For more than 4 decades, Sharon had been Ozzy's fiercest protector and shrewdest architect. She had managed his comeback, defended him in court, and even saved his life more than once. Her silence in the days following his passing was deafening. When she did finally speak, it wasn't what people expected. It wasn't a gentle tribute, nor was it a sanitized memorial. It was raw, jagged, and tinged with regret. Sharon's words opened the floodgates to a series of revelations about the funeral, about Ozzy's will, and about the complicated man behind the myth. This expose isn't just about Ozzy Osbourne's death. It's about what happened in the shadows afterward. It's about the mystery surrounding his burial, the rift within his family, the mistress rumors that refused to die, and the legacy now left in Sharon's hands. It's about a final act that feels less like a peaceful goodbye and more like the beginning of a power struggle. So what really happened after Ozzy died? Why did Sharon delay the funeral announcement? What secrets lie within Ozzy's will? And who has the right to define how he is remembered? Join us as we dive deep into the legend's final days and the controversy that followed him to the grave. The burial controversy, a garden grave or a hidden goodbye. Rumors had swirled for years that Ozzy wanted to be buried on the family's private estate in Buckinghamshire, England, a peaceful garden grave next to his beloved dogs. But in the days leading up to the funeral, insiders leaked a startling revelation. Sharon allegedly requested that Ozzy's body be cremated and his ashes divided. One portion for a public memorial, one to be kept privately. Fans were stunned. Was this really what Ozzy wanted? Or was this Sharon exercising control one last time? Jack and Kelly Osbourne reportedly objected, but Sharon's word prevailed. The garden grave was never dug. Instead, a discreet ceremony was held at a Los Angeles chapel, with only a few close family members in attendance. The secrecy only added to the mystery. Jack and Kelly's reactions? A fractured family in mourning. Jack Osbourne, visibly emotional at the ceremony, kept his remarks short, but one overheard moment caught attention. He told me this wasn't how he wanted it. Kelly, holding back tears, shared a montage of unseen family moments with Ozzy on social media with the caption, "You were our storm, our chaos, our joy." The Osbourne siblings reportedly clashed with Sharon behind the scenes over funeral arrangements, media control, and even the will. Insiders say Sharon maintained tight control, citing Ozzy's trust in final conversations, but others suggest long-standing tensions finally erupted. Secrets of the will. What Ozzy really left behind. Ozzy's last will and testament, partially leaked to the press, revealed unexpected clauses. Large donations were made to animal rights groups. A cryptic mention of a legacy fund for undisclosed children raised eyebrows. And a clause reserving final creative rights to Sharon over any future documentaries or biopics sparked debate about image preservation versus exploitation. Was this Ozzy's true intent or a product of manipulation? Sharon's stunning tribute, confession or closure. When Sharon finally addressed the public in a televised statement, it wasn't the polished media spin people expected. It was raw, at moments unhinged. Ozzy wasn't a god. He was a broken man who gave the world everything he had, even when it killed him slowly. I loved him. I protected him. And yes, I failed him too. She spoke of their battles, his infidelity, her control, their separations. She admitted to controlling the chaos because she feared losing him to it. And in one moment that shook viewers, she confessed, in the end, he wanted silence. But I kept pushing noise. Was it an act of redemption or a final manipulation? Mistress rumors resurface. The other woman's shadow. Even as the Osbourne family grieved, whispers about Ozzy's long-rumored affair with a former hairstylist returned to the headlines. The woman whose name tabloids have circulated for years reportedly reached out to Sharon after Ozzy's death, but was denied any role in the memorial process. Some claim a portion of Ozzy's ashes was requested by her, but denied by Sharon. The tension reignited a long-standing debate about Ozzy's final years and who truly knew his heart. Ozzy's last words, what was really said. According to a nurse present during his final moments, Ozzy's last words were whispered with clarity. Don't let them turn me into something I'm not. What did he mean? Was it about his legacy, his body, his music? Sharon didn't mention these words in her tribute, but Jack reportedly told friends that those final moments changed everything for him. He wasn't scared of death. He was scared of erasure. Legacy in limbo. Who controls the Prince of Darkness now? With legal control resting in Sharon's hands, future projects, including an upcoming biopic and potential unreleased music, will pass through her filter. Fans are torn. Some trust her to honor his legacy. Others fear she will reshape the man into something more profitable and palatable. One former bandmate said, Ozzy was raw, unfiltered. You try to clean him up, you erase him. Conclusion, a funeral, a family, and a legend's final act. In the end, Ozzy Osbourne's funeral was not just a moment of collective mourning. It was a moment of reckoning. It peeled back the layers of a carefully crafted legacy and exposed the raw fractures beneath. What was intended to be a respectful farewell became a microcosm of everything Ozzy's life had embodied. Chaos, controversy, deep love, and even deeper silence. For fans, friends, and family, it was a final act that raised more questions than it answered. Throughout his life, Ozzy played many roles. The satanic showman, the befuddled father, the comeback king. But in death, he became a symbol of something even more complicated. His funeral laid bare the contradictions that defined him. The man who screamed his rebellion from the stage was laid to rest in near secret. The man who gave himself to fans was mourned behind closed doors. The public persona and private man seemed to diverge in his final moments, and that dissonance continues to reverberate. Sharon's role in this final chapter is particularly polarizing. Her tribute, though emotionally powerful, left many unsure whether it was closure or control. Her decision to cremate him, allegedly against his original wishes, only deepened the rift. For decades, she had orchestrated Ozzy's career, often walking the line between management and manipulation. In this final act, that tension boiled over. Was she protecting him one last time, or preserving the version of him she wanted the world to remember? The reactions of Jack and Kelly further complicated the narrative. Their grief was raw and visible, but so was their frustration. Jack's quiet remarks hinted at a disconnect between Ozzy's wishes and what ultimately occurred. Kelly's posts, though tender, had undertones of dissent. For a family that once invited cameras into their lives, the silence between them now spoke volumes. Then there's the will, Ozzy's final word on how he wanted to be remembered. The mysterious clauses, the undisclosed children, and the full creative control given to Sharon paint a portrait of either deep trust or deeper manipulation. The inclusion of legacy funds, creative ownership, and conditions for memorialization suggest a man aware of the myth he had become and perhaps anxious to control the next chapter. Fans have every right to feel conflicted. On one hand, Ozzy deserved peace. On the other, his legacy belongs in part to the millions who lived, raged, and healed through his music. They want to see the truth, not a polished revision. They want to hear the final screams of the Prince of Darkness, not a PR-friendly whisper. What we are left with is a legacy in limbo. Will future documentaries whitewash the chaos that defined him? Will unreleased music be curated to fit a sanitized narrative? Or will the real Ozzy, the flawed, fearless, unfiltered soul, be allowed to speak even in death? As time moves on, Sharon's grip on that legacy will shape how Ozzy is remembered by future generations. But fans, friends, and former bandmates must also be stewards of that memory. Because Ozzy Osbourne wasn't just a rock star, he was a cultural meteor, a beautifully broken icon, a symbol of resistance, darkness, humor, and heart. In death as in life, Ozzy Osbourne didn't follow a script. He left behind pieces of himself scattered across albums, performances, and the lives he touched. It's now up to all of us, those who knew him, those who loved him, and those who watch from afar, to ensure that story is told in full. Not just the parts that are easy to market or tidy to remember. So let us not silence the chaos. Let us not edit the scream. Let Ozzy's truth be as loud, messy, and unforgettable as the man himself. Long live the Prince of Darkness. Even in death, he refuses to fade quietly into the night.